I know this is a lot to ask, but thank you for coming with me. Do you hear that?
Hey, what the hell is going on?
The train just uncoupled!
Ah!
You gotta be kidding me.
Hold on!
Welcome to Minos Escape Rooms.
No.
It's happening again.
You guys have played the game before?
So what is this? Like a tournament of champions?
Hi, Adam. How are you doing?
I'm well, Jamal. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. After watching Escape Room Tournament of Champions, my first question was like, how big are the production designers and production coordinators to this project as opposed to another? Because it seems like it has a lot to do with story, a lot to do with design of the set.
Yeah, I mean, they're super logistically challenging. I mean, look, Ed Thomas, who's my production designer, he's just a master. And we shoot these movies. We shot both of them in Cape Town, South Africa. And I don't think there's any other place in the world we would have got the value we did. They have incredible construction teams and stuff. And so, a lot of it starts with the development and figuring out like what's a really cool space that we can turn into a death room, so to speak. And so the development of the script is really key. And we, in the first movie, we did a lot of like the ways to kill people, right? We have fire, we have gravity, we have ice, we have gas. And so it was like coming into this movie, it's like, shit, how do we kill people in a way that's PG-13, that isn't relying on gore and blood? And so I, as a kid, was always scared of subway train cars. And, you go into all these tunnels. I grew up in Boston, and the idea of like an electricity, the third rail, you always heard about people getting electrocuted. And so it was sort of like that image of like a cool way to pull the audience, pull the characters back into the game. And so it started with the train as an idea. Okay, we're underground now. What about a bank with lasers? And so to answer your question, Ed, so we have the script, and like we have a train car. Well, we're in Cape Town. There's no subways. And so Ed has to literally fabricate an entire New York City train. It's all on a soundstage. The bank was a really cool location in Cape Town. And then the beach was all built from scratch. They brought in 20,000 kilos of sand from a local beach there in South Africa. We had actors going through the sand. The special effects team aerated it and made it like liquid. So you had actors sinking, and it was kicking up sand in their faces and scratching their eyes. So each room was like its own movie in a way, and most of them were builds. Most of them were Ed. He'll give us like a concept art of like what the space is going to look like. Mark Spicer, my DP, will figure out like how we're going to light it. And then then they build them.
I assume that most projects, kind of begin with the script, and then you do storyboarding and otherwise. But for this project, do you have to do storyboarding along the way? Do you have to like, not just have the written word, but see these pictures before you could come to completion on what this project is going to be, as opposed to a different script?
Yeah, I mean, usually it's about figuring out like what the room is going to be first. And then, once we write the script, the puzzles themselves have to be very specific, because all those clues have to be fabricated and created. So it is on the page first, and then we'll get like a nice concept art. And then once we start the build, what I'll do is I have a 3D model of the set, and then I start doing storyboarding and shot listing based on, I'm looking around the set. I'm like, oh shit, I can't get a crane up here because this sign is here. So the art department gives me this file that I can kind of manipulate on my computer. And then we figure out where we're going to put cameras. We don't do as many storyboards the way, like if it was a big action movie, it would be a lot of storyboards, probably a lot of previs at this point, which is like an animated storyboard or an animated, like a cartoon. But we do a lot of shot listing and a lot of frame grabs where we think, okay, we know this character is going to be here. We want the camera to circle around them and stuff. But to answer your question, it's always on the page first. And I pull a lot of scrap material of like, here's some influences. Here's what I think it should look like. But it's script first, concept art, and then shot listing, really.
So I know at the beginning you said that you had to think of like ways to kill people in a PG-13 way. So now that we're through 2 iterations of Escape Room, I mean, like, do you have stuff that didn't make that got cut in the editing room, or do you still have enough ways to kill people for a third round of this?
I said Escape Room 3 should be the Zoom waiting room. You know, it's like where people are just stuck on Zoom. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of ideas. I mean, I wanted to do like a zero gravity room where they all get locked into spacesuits and they're floating up on a fan. And there's something on the ceiling that's going to kill them, and they have to like change an O-ring on you have like a diorama of the earth beneath them or something like that. Or, in Boston, there was this great molasses flood where like 30 people died in a factory. They were killed by sugar, like a lava flow of sugar killed them. So there's a lot of cool ideas. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like we'd like to do a version where they come out into a room and everything is big, and they're like miniature. So there's so many ways you can come up with it. It's just about like what's the right tone for the movie, because there's no shortage of ideas, that's for sure.
Yeah. And how fun is this for you? Like, I mean, I know the movie making process is tedious, but it seems like this is, it's like you're playing a game at the same time with the puzzles and reverse engineering this. Like, how fun is this project as just a project to do?
Look, I'm always grateful to be working and to be able to make movies. This movie was incredibly hard in terms of logistics and the timing. And, I would have liked more time on the script and all the, it was just it was a rush kind of experience. But it's super fun, and what's great is like when I see an image in my head, when I pitch to Sony, we're going to derail a train car and turn it into a giant Tesla coil. And now to see it actually, it's going to be in theaters across the country. It's very humbling. And I'm just lucky. I work with a lot of really talented people that make me look good on a daily basis. And I think that's the best part, is even when I'm exhausted and tired, I see the crew working with such passion. And that's always what lifts me up the most. I always say it's a stay of execution. If I get to make one more movie, maybe they won't know that I don't know what I'm doing, so that that's always my mindset.
Yeah, well, I love the movie. I guess my favorite room was the acid rain, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and but keep on making them, man. We'll keep on watching. I appreciate you like breaking down the film process for me. I was excited to talk to you about the process of making this, because I thought it was like real intriguing to direct this type of film. Thanks for your time, Adam.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked the acid room. That's the one that was the hardest. So I appreciate you liked it.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Perfect.